My name is Mr. Achievement and I'm racing against you. My mission is to get 50 PS3 Platinum trophies before I hit 5,000 subscribers. But if I fail, I'll be branded for life with a Platinum trophy tattoo. You heard that right, so will I make history or wear my failure forever? The journey starts here. Hit subscribe and let's find out together if I can get 50 Platinums before 5,000 subscribers.
This is Platinum Trophy number 5 in my challenge. 50 PS3 Platinums before I hit 5,000 subscribers. And today, I'm showing you how I earned one of the most brutal, nostalgic and mentally scarring Platinums on the entire console. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I know what you're thinking, oh MW2, that game's a classic. Yes, it is. It's also a PTSD simulator disguised as a first-person shooter. This game threw me back to my childhood, back when I had no responsibilities, decent reflexes, and zero concern for things like controller durability or emotional stability. But trying to platinum it now in 2025, different beast. From co-op chaos in Special Ops, to sweat-drenched veteran campaign runs, to crawling through old missions for hidden intel like some haunted librarian, this platinum nearly broke me. And I thought it would be easy. I thought I'd knock it out in a weekend. What I got instead: 12-hour gaming sessions with a buddy yelling into my headset, grenade death loops, snowmobiles of doom, and a chicken genocide I'm still not over. But I did it. Every trophy, in order. And in this video, you're coming along for the whole ride. Every triumph, every rage quit, every trophy pop. So sit back, maybe grab some snacks, and if you ever played this game, prepare for a wave of nostalgia with a side of dark humor and pure PS3 madness. Let's get into the full journey of my Modern Warfare 2 Platinum Trophy. I started with the Special Ops missions because I knew they were going to give me the hardest time. I just did not know how hard of a time yet. The first trophy popped almost too easily. Just earn 1 star. 1. That's it. Gold star. I went into the first mission barely thinking. Threw a few flashbangs, sprayed like a maniac, and cleared it with a single star. Boom. There it was. The trophy popped and I actually laughed out loud. This is gonna be a breeze, I told myself. Classic mistake. I didn't know then that this was the happiest I'd be for the next 20 hours. 1 star in, confidence high, ego higher. I was already imagining this platinum in my collection. This moment was the peak. Everything after, that was the fall. With 1 star in the bag, I went on a mini spree. Got through a few more early missions and suddenly Hotel Bravo popped. 4 stars total. Still feeling good. These early ops lull you into a sense of progress. You start to believe. But the missions slowly shift from run and gun to sneak, plan, cry, repeat. But at this point, still smooth. I was even casually chatting with a friend about how easy this platinum would be. Hilarious in hindsight. I didn't even realize the trap was already closing in. I thought I was breezing through. In reality, I was being gently pulled into the meat grinder. One of the few accidental trophies. I saw 2 enemies sliding down ropes, lined up a shot, and got both of them before they touched the ground. The harder they fall popped immediately. It felt cool in the moment, like I had just done something incredibly tactical. In reality, it was dumb luck. But hey, I'll take it. This was one of those trophies that makes you feel like the game's throwing you a bone before it slaps you later. At the time, I didn't care. I was just happy to see that notification. Free dopamine. Thanks, PS3. I kept grinding through missions, thinking I was unstoppable. When Charlie on R6 popped at 8 stars, I felt like a king. I had this rhythm going: load in, shoot stuff, get out. But little did I know, this was the last stretch of fun before the difficulty spike hit me like a truck. These missions were clearly designed to build false hope. Like the game was saying, go ahead, get comfortable. You'll need the rest. And I believed it. I still thought I could solo this whole thing. That version of me, he's gone now. This was the turning point. Operational assets sounded simple. Get all 3 stars in just 5 missions. But 5. On veteran, I went in with my solo confidence and I came out humbled. These weren't just hard missions, they were, why is there a Juggernaut here and how is he bulletproof missions? I started planning my loadouts. I memorized spawn points. I learned how to cheese angles like a speedrunner. Eventually, 5 missions fell. The trophy popped, but it wasn't satisfying. It was like winning a staring contest with a demon. I knew the worst was still ahead. This one was tactical, or at least it looked that way. Two enemies lined up just right. I aimed for the head, fired, and both dropped. Two birds with one stone popped. It was clean. It felt like a scene out of a sniper movie. And for one tiny moment, I forgot I was dying inside. These little trophies were the only things keeping me sane. The only reward in a mode where enemies didn't miss, checkpoints didn't care, and your controller slowly started to feel like it weighed 10 pounds. Getting to 21 stars unlocked blackjack, and with it, a false sense of progress. I was nearly a third of the way there, but this was the part where I stopped playing for fun and started grinding like it was a job. Every star earned now came with a cost, usually in retries, swearing, and controller slams. I wasn't even celebrating trophies anymore. I'd see the pop and just grunt. Emotionally, I had the energy of a sad war veteran. But I kept going. I hate Juggernauts. I hated them before. I despised them after this. Killing just one unlocks I'm the Juggernaut, but it took me an hour of trial and error to pull it off. These guys eat bullets for breakfast. I hit him with grenades, shotgun blasts, even RPGs, and he just kept walking like I owed him money. When he finally fell, I was too shocked to cheer. It was like defeating a boss from a horror game. I stared at his corpse for a full minute. Then I saved the clip. Thermal scopes in this game are either your best friend or a flashing death sentence. To get some like it hot, I had to find the perfect mission, find the right gun, and line up 6 enemies without dying. Easier said than done. I failed a dozen times. Enemies would run, hide, or just snipe me from 400 miles away. But eventually, I lit up 6 red-hot targets in a row and the trophy popped. I didn't smile, I just exhaled and pressed restart. 30 stars. That's when I stopped pretending I was enjoying myself. Specialist unlocked and I felt nothing. Not pride, not satisfaction, just dread. Because I knew the next 39 stars would only get worse. At 30 stars, you're past the point of no return. You've invested too much to quit, but you're far enough in to realize this was a mistake. I was rationing my mental health like medkits. Every mission became a mini heart attack. Veteran mode didn't just make enemies stronger, it made every hallway feel like a potential funeral. 10 full 3-star clears. Operative felt like the game's way of saying, let's see if you can actually follow through. So I grabbed my friend, sat him down and said, we're not leaving until this pops. We mapped routes, timed grenade throws, counted enemy spawns out loud like we were calling bingo. And after wiping too many times to count, we made it. 10 full clears. Trophy unlocked. Pizza ordered. We earned it. The trophy might say operative, but we felt like survivors of psychological warfare. This one sounds cute. It goes to 11. Like a little nod to Spinal Tap. But after what we'd gone through, nothing was cute. We had already earned 3 stars in most of these missions, so this one popped in the middle of a firefight. I didn't even notice it at first. I was too busy dodging shotgun blasts and screaming into my headset. But when I saw the trophy name in the results screen, I let out a low, tired laugh. Yeah, it really does go to 11. You know what's rare in special ops? Satisfaction. But this one, threesome, was satisfying. We were deep into a mission, backed into a corner. I was running low on ammo, everything was on fire, classic MW2 moment. Then I spotted 3 enemies clustering near a door. I aimed, fired one perfect grenade shot, and watched them all vanish. Clean, beautiful. The trophy popped like a mic drop. That moment gave me just enough serotonin to keep going. 15 missions, 3 stars in each. Professional, felt like running a gauntlet made of broken glass and flashbacks. By this point, my friend and I weren't even speaking in full sentences. Right side, reload, sniper top, that's all we could manage. Our hands were sore, our minds were mush. When the trophy popped, we didn't even react. We just nodded at each other like war vets who'd seen too much. We weren't playing anymore, we were enduring. Stealth in Modern Warfare 2 is a joke, especially on veteran. Getting no rest for the wary was like trying to do open heart surgery while being chased by wolves. We picked a mission with less chaos, as if that existed. I crouch walked for minutes, heart pounding, eyes locked on an unsuspecting guard. One wrong move and he'd alert everyone and ruin the run. I finally got behind him and knifed him so silently that even the game paused for a second to register it. The trophy popped and I had to sit still and breathe. My hands were shaking. That was the closest I've come to sneaking in my entire life. There's nothing slow about slow motion breaches when you're panicking. For Knock Knock, you need to land 4 shots on 4 enemies during that brief cinematic slow-mo. Easier said than done. We restarted so many times I could draw the enemy positions from memory. Sometimes I missed one. Sometimes my buddy shot 2. Once I got 3 but sneezed and missed the last. Pure tragedy. Finally, I took a deep breath, fired 4 clean rounds and dropped them all. The trophy popped. I almost cried. Not out of joy, just sheer, soul-draining relief. This was it. The Everest of Modern Warfare 2. Star 69 is the moment you either make it or uninstall the game. We spent a full 12-hour session chasing this one. We argued. We strategized. We died. A lot. There were moments of silence, moments of rage. We even stopped to eat and just stared into the distance, wondering what we were doing with our lives. And then finally we got it. The last mission. The last star. 69 stars in total. The trophy popped. We stood up, high-fived, and collapsed onto the couch. We had done it. The nightmare was over. You'd think this would come earlier, but honor roll hit right after star 69, like a pat on the back. Hey, by the way, good job trying all the missions. It didn't feel like an achievement. It felt like someone handing you a participation ribbon after you just won a marathon barefoot. But still it was a trophy. And at this point, we were grateful for anything that didn't require dying 14 times in 3 minutes. This one was unplanned chaos. I was crawling on the ground, bleeding out, yelling for my friend. He was pinned, couldn't get to me. So I did the only thing I could, pulled out my pistol and kept firing. 4 enemies later, the trophy popped, down but not out. I laughed. My buddy laughed. We were both dying in game and emotionally. It felt poetic, like the game knew how broken we were and gave us that one trophy as a mercy drop. This was supposed to be the warm-up, the training mission, the game's way of saying, let's ease you in. But Big Boss wasn't friendly. I needed to complete the obstacle course in under 30 seconds. Easy, right? Wrong. I restarted this more times than I'd like to admit. Shot a civilian. Restart. Missed a target. Restart. Got stuck on a wall like a confused goat. Restart. I shaved seconds off my time like I was prepping for the Olympics. By the time I finally hit 29.95 and the trophy popped, I threw my controller in the air like I just won a gold medal. I was sweating and it was only the tutorial. That should have been my first warning. After the madness of the pit, back in the saddle, was a trophy. I didn't even try to earn it, just happened. Complete the mission. Boom. Trophy. Easy. But even in this basic level, I started noticing things. Enemies had insane aim. Grenades came from unknown dimensions. The game wasn't holding back just because I was training. It felt like veteran difficulty was lurking beneath the surface, watching me sharpening knives. This trophy gave me hope. False hope. Because what came next wasn't a game, it was war. Another story trophy, Danger Close, popped as I completed the intro sequence and joined Shepard's crew of elite operators. At the time, I felt proud. I was chosen, special, part of the inner circle. Of course, I hadn't yet remembered that Shepard was a backstabbing psychopath with a superiority complex. The trophy should have been called Betrayal Starter Pack. But for now, I was still naive, still trusting, still impressed by the mustache. Oh, how quickly things change. Veteran mode hit full force here. First day of school required me to complete both intro missions on the hardest difficulty, and suddenly the game stopped playing nice. Enemies had psychic aim, grenades spawned in my shoes, and every hallway felt like a trap. It wasn't just hard, it was unfair in the most Call of Duty way possible. By the end of Team Player, I was crouched in a corner, blind firing and praying to any deity who would listen. When the trophy popped, I was already mentally preparing for the pain to come. Snow level, stealth, veteran difficulty. What could go wrong? Everything. Cold Shoulder sounds like a chill mission, pun intended, but this was the moment I realized the campaign was trying to break me. Sneaking through snow, avoiding patrols, snipers in every tree. I must have triggered alarms a dozen times before figuring out the right path. And even then, I'd make it halfway, then get mowed down by a guard who saw my elbow through a blizzard. When the trophy finally popped, I didn't celebrate. I just squinted at the snow on screen and whispered, "You win." It was a cold one. Literally and emotionally. Black Diamond finishing the full cliffhanger mission on Veteran. You start with stealth, then go full Michael Bay with snowmobiles and explosions. This level's like 2 different games stitched together. First half, tense, quiet, terrifying. Second half, Screaming, bullets, death at 120 miles per hour. The snowmobile escape alone had me restarting more times than I can count. Hitting a tree, missing a jump, getting sniped mid-drive. I began questioning if snow was my natural enemy. By the time I crossed the finish line and saw the trophy, I was convinced my DualShock had frostbite. I hate the fablers. Tight alleys, rooftop campers, and enemies with a sixth sense. Tag 'em and bag 'em forced me to chase Rojas through this maze of chaos, and on Veteran, it's like running through a wasp nest while being shot at. Every doorway hit a guy with perfect aim. Every alley had someone chucking grenades. And Rojas, dude ran like he had Olympic training. I finally cornered him after what felt like a 15-minute sprint marathon through gunfire and cursing. The trophy popped, and I felt like I'd survived a hostage situation, with me as the hostage. This one was actually fun briefly. 10+ foot mobiles requires you to get a 10 kill streak with a Predator missile, and I knew just the spot. Lined up the crosshair, waited for the enemies to group, held my breath, and dropped it. Boom. A beautiful chain of chaos. 10 bodies ragdolled across the screen like action movie extras. The trophy popped, and I actually smiled for once. Then I turned the corner and immediately got sniped by some guy hiding in a fruit stand. Classic MW2. No joy without punishment. This mission felt like tower defense, but with PTSD. Royale with cheese had me defending Burger Town from wave after wave of enemies who apparently hated fast food with a burning passion. There were tanks, snipers, riot shield guys. At one point, a helicopter started unloading on the drive-through window. I hid in the kitchen like a terrified fry cook. Would you like some shrapnel with that? Veteran mode made it feel like I was the last employee left at closing time during an armed robbery. When the trophy finally popped, I was emotionally overcooked. You ever get dropped into a level and immediately regret your life choices? That's Touristas. Takedown starts with a full-on sprint into a favela where every enemy has wall hacks and infinite grenades. Then comes the Hornet's Nest, which is exactly what it sounds like, running through tight alleys as bullets rain from the sky and shotgunners hide behind every door. By the end, I wasn't playing anymore. I was crawling, praying, and occasionally panic meleeing people. The moment the trophy popped, I didn't cheer. I just exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for 25 minutes. Wolverines is like being thrown into a Call of Duty theme park if the rides were broken and everything wanted to kill you. I was running from house to house, trying to hold ground, but the enemies had other plans. Then Exodus tossed me into a suburban war zone with a convoy I had to babysit. Red Dawn popped after hours of retries, a few rage pauses, and one moment where I got spawn killed 5 times in a row. I nearly unplugged my PS3. Veteran difficulty doesn't teach patience, it teaches trauma. This trophy was personal. After being beaten down by the AI for hours, I saw my chance. Riot shield in hand, I stalked my prey. He didn't know what was coming. I walked up and wham, one hit KO. Unnecessary roughness popped instantly, and I let out an evil little laugh. It wasn't just a trophy, it was revenge. Sweet, cathartic, poetic revenge. That AI didn't deserve it, but I needed it. That one shield swing was more satisfying than most kill streaks. Sometimes violence is the answer. Ah yes, the Gulag. Tight hallways, dozens of enemies, lasers and shotguns everywhere. Soap on a rope demands you survive this prison break on Veteran, and let me tell you, it's a miracle I didn't end up in a real one after this level. I died so many times I lost count. Enemies knew my position before I spawned. I eventually started pre-firing corners and prayed. The moment I saw the final checkpoint, I ran like it was real life. The trophy popped and I collapsed onto the floor. My soul, still trapped in the Gulag. Oh, you thought soap on a rope was the end? Nope. Prisoner #627 requires both. The only easy day was yesterday and the Gulag. And this is where the campaign turns into pure punishment. Enemies have pinpoint aim. You peek for half a second and it's lights out. The only easy day was an ironic title because nothing was easy. Every room was a death trap. Every breach was a gamble. I started flinching in real life every time I saw a flashbang. When the trophy finally unlocked, I didn't celebrate. I stared at the wall in silence for 5 minutes. By the time I got to Desperate Times, I was already emotionally bruised. The mission is about executing a big, desperate plan to defend against an overwhelming invasion, and on Veteran, it felt like trying to stop a tsunami with a beach towel. Enemies kept coming in waves, and every window, every doorway, every street corner became a shooting gallery. I wasn't even aiming anymore, I was just spraying and praying. I kept hearing Shepard's voice in the background, barking orders, and all I could think was, you better be worth this. When the trophy popped, I didn't feel victorious. I felt evacuated. Contingency is where things get icy literally. Slow, stealth, and more betrayal vibes. To earn ends justify the means, I had to complete this mission on veteran, which meant I was crawling through snow like a depressed walrus. One wrong move, one accidental trigger, and the alarms would go off. Then it was chaos. I restarted this mission so many times I started narrating the enemy patrols out loud. I knew their patterns better than they did. Eventually, I slipped through the cracks, lit up the final camp, and escaped with my dignity mostly intact. The trophy popped, and I wanted to hug someone, or maybe a snowman. This one's iconic. Storming the White House? Epic. Doing it on veteran? Horrifying. Risky hotel drops you into chaos. Every step toward the building is a fight for your life. I was ducking behind burning furniture, throwing smokes, and trying to inch forward, while bullets chewed through the walls around me. By the time I reached the rooftop, it felt like I had actually climbed the mountain. The trophy name sounds fancy, like some classy mission. In reality, it was trench warfare with wallpaper. When the screen froze and Whiskey Hotel popped, I saluted my broken controller. This wasn't a trophy, it was a trilogy of trauma. Homecoming requires you to finish 3 heavy missions back to back on veteran. Of their own accord, introduced me to the joy of endless helicopters. Second Son brought nuclear terror. And then Whiskey Hotel again, just in case you didn't suffer enough the first time. By the end of this stretch, I felt like a soldier coming back from war. I was a shell of myself. But I did it. The trophy popped, and I whispered, I want to go home too. You'd think storming a villain's safe house would be empowering. Nope. The pawn had me breaching buildings filled with enemies who apparently drank Red Bull and studied military strategy on TikTok. Every room was a puzzle with bullets for pieces. I'd get flashbanged, run into a trap, restart, and try again. The whole mission was claustrophobic and tense. I was shouting callouts like I had a full squad when really, it was just me yelling at myself. When the trophy popped, I felt like I'd taken down a criminal empire with a broken broomstick and a dream. This mission is pure chaos. Out of the frying pan, throws you into an airplane scrapyard filled with angry men, endless bullets, and explosive barrels that always seem to be near you, not the enemies. The layout is a nightmare-tight paths, wide open areas, no cover. I tried sneaking, I tried running. I even tried crawling through wreckage like a desperate raccoon. Nothing worked until I memorized the enemy patterns like a theater script. When I finally escaped the madness, the trophy popped, and I just stared at the screen. I wasn't sure if I had won or just escaped. These missions were personal. In loose ends, you're ambushed. And on veteran, that ambush turns into a slaughter. I defended a cabin like it was my actual home, firing out windows, counting bullets. Queen Takes Rook was earned with blood. Then came the enemy of my enemy, a chaotic escape through a scrapyard while 2 rival forces tried to kill each other and me. I died in corners, behind crates, even while sprinting in slow-mo. When I finally reached the evac point and the trophy popped, I slumped in my chair like I had physically run from a war. I didn't feel like a soldier. I felt like a survivor. Finally a fun one. Drive-by felt like a reward for surviving the campaign's abuse. I hopped on a snowmobile, enemies in my path, and just opened fire. It was cinematic. Glorious. Dumb. Everything I needed. Every enemy I hit while speeding across the snowy terrain was one more punch of adrenaline. I lost count around 15. When the 20th enemy fell and the trophy popped, I laughed like a maniac. This was the kind of chaos I lived for. Pure, beautiful mayhem, and I didn't even need cover. This one hit differently. The price of war isn't just a trophy, it's a statement. Finish the campaign on the hardest difficulty, and you're met with a quiet thing like the game whispering, you made it. But did I? I limped through these missions. I died hundreds of times. I memorized maps like they were tattooed on my brain. When that final cinematic played and the trophy popped, I wasn't even excited, I was reflective. The name said it all. This was the price. Hours of pain, a broken soul, and a trophy I'll never forget. Technically, I earned for the record way earlier, but the game doesn't hand it out until you beat the campaign entirely. So after everything veteran runs, retries, shouting into pillows, this little guy popped. A reminder that I had done it all. Every mission, every checkpoint, every death. It felt almost insulting to get this after surviving veteran mode. Like, oh hey, congrats, you also did it on easy. But whatever, a trophy's a trophy. And this one meant I was done. Or almost. By the time I reached off the grid, I was running on fumes. Just like old times was a stealth/gunfight hybrid where every enemy could end you instantly. Endgame was a chase sequence where one wrong turn meant death and restarting a long checkpoint. But I pushed through. I ducked, dodged, fought tooth and nail. I screamed when I missed a throw. I cheered when I didn't. And when that final moment hit and I saw the trophy pop, I just let out a deep, exhausted breath. I was done. The campaign was behind me. My hands were shaking, but my heart, calm. This trophy was sneaky literally. Ghost required me to plant C4 during cliffhanger without being spotted. Sounds cool. It's not. I failed more times than I can count. One guy would randomly look left and it was over. A snowmobile patrol would hear a footstep from 30 feet away. I had to crouch walk like a ninja in slow motion, counting steps and watching enemy cones like I was planning a prison escape. When the C4 finally landed and the trophy popped, I sat motionless. That trophy was pure stealth, and also pure stress. This one sounded like fun, but on veteran, switching guns mid-fight is a death wish. Desperado had me scramble to kill 5 enemies, back to back, each with a different weapon. I had to plan it out. Rifle, SMG, pistol, grenade launcher, melee. I mapped my kills like a strategy game, and it still took me 5 tries. It felt like juggling knives during a riot. But once I got that 5th kill, I saw the pop and raised my controller like a trophy. I felt like John Wick's confused cousin. Dual-wielding weapons makes you feel unstoppable until you actually try it on veteran. Look, my 2 hands meant I had to kill 10 enemies back to back with the Kimbo pistols. I felt cool for about 5 seconds, then realized I had no aim. I was running and gunning like a cowboy at a raid. Somehow, I kept it together. 10 enemies dropped, trophy popped, and I reloaded like I'd just been in a western. I wasn't proud, but I was loud. That counts for something. This one was therapy. After everything the game had put me through, Colonel Sanderson, let me take it out on some chickens. I found the coop, took a deep breath, and started blasting. 7 chickens, 10 seconds. I failed the first time, don't ask how, but eventually I got the rhythm down. It was the dumbest, most cathartic trophy in the whole game. The pop made me laugh out loud. I was deep into madness at this point, and this poultry massacre was my moment of peace. Intel hunting began as a break. Revisit old missions. Look around. No bullets, no chaos, just exploration. For the road less traveled, I had to collect 22 Intel laptops. First few were easy, I remember them from my childhood. But then it got tricky. Hidden behind shelves, inside bunkers, on tables no one looks at. I started watching old YouTube guides with shaky 240p footage. But slowly I found them. Each pickup was a breadcrumb trail through my memories. This trophy wasn't hard, it was nostalgic. It made me remember why I loved this game to begin with. Now this was the true grind. Leave no stone unturned demanded all 45 Intel pieces, and that meant replaying half the campaign. I'd rush past gunfights just to peek behind filing cabinets. I started hearing laptop fan noises in my dreams. But eventually, the second I picked it up, the trophy popped and I threw my arms up like I had found the Holy Grail. It wasn't just a laptop, it was freedom. And then it happened. Is That All You Got appeared on screen, the platinum, the big one, the final reward. No cutscene, no music, just a quiet little ping. But it meant everything. I did it. Special ops, done. Veteran campaign, conquered. Intel, collected. Chickens, avenged. I stared at that platinum trophy in the list and smiled like a proud parent. This wasn't just platinum number 5, it was a journey. A test. A love letter to my childhood wrapped in bullet shells and broken controllers. And that was it. 51 trophies. 1 platinum. And a whole lot of screaming, grinding, and laughing through the pain. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 wasn't just a game, it was a return to my roots. Back when I first held a controller, fell in love with the chaos, and thought beating a game just meant seeing the credits. But now, it means earning the platinum, and this one made me earn it. From every special ops star to every veteran mission checkpoint to finding those last pieces of intel in the weirdest corners imaginable, I gave it everything. And this was only platinum number 5. I've got 45 more BS3 platinums to go. And I'm not stopping. If you enjoyed this journey, if you felt even 1 ounce of pain with me, or laughed at the suffering, hit that subscribe button. Help me hit 5,000 subscribers and complete this challenge with you right beside me. Drop a like, share it with a friend who survived MW2 back in the day, and leave a comment with your favorite or most traumatic memory from this game. Because this isn't just a trophy hunt, it's a mission. And I'll be back soon with Platinum number 6. Until then, keep grinding, keep gaming, and maybe take a break from Juggernauts.